hit the record button and we will go live on Instagram, and then we will be good. All right. Hello. Good evening. Welcome, my friends. It's Maya from New Aria Health and Wellness. We are now live on Facebook, Instagram, and Zoom. Happy Wednesday evening. Happy hump day, everybody. My name is Maya. I am a behavioral registered dietitian, the creator of the New Aria method and founder at New Aria Health and Wellness. And tonight's Live with the Founder topic is all or nothing thinking and how it is the biggest saboteur of our health. And so we're going to talk about what all or nothing thinking is in the context of a habit. I'm going to give you some examples and some of the very first steps that you need to get out of it. Before we get started, as I promised, if some of you have received the email that I sent out, if you're on our email list, we have a big announcement for this evening that I will mention now and at the end. As you know, maybe you don't know, maybe you're completely brand new to New Aria Health and Wellness. And who are we? Who are we in the health and wellness space? We are a very key, very important player and are starting a conversation in the health and wellness space that nobody else is. We know that thinking is the cause and behavior is the symptom. Thinking is the cause and behavior is the symptom, meaning more behavior change is merely symptom treatment. That how you think about your health is more important than what you do. Because when you change how you think about your health, that ultimately changes what you do in a much more easy and effortless way. Now, I realize there are many people in this world who do just need help and more knowledge, and those are all wonderful and great things, and there's nothing wrong with that. New Aria Health and Wellness specializes in teaching you how to think differently for effortless behavior change. If you are someone who knows what to do and you're just not doing it, you've been on 998 diets before, you're a perfectionist, maybe an all or nothing thinker, you like to control things in the future you can't control, maybe stress, anxiety, and even a little bit of frustration, overwhelm, or depression is a regular, habitual, everyday part of your life. And it is of my belief, after coaching for 14 years, that the world knows what to do. We don't need any more diets. We don't need any more meal plans. The state of our country's health is getting worse, and there is one solution to that. The next era in health and wellness is learning how to think on a foundational level. How you think about your health is more important than what you do. And we are on a mission to change the way the world changes their health and teaching you how to think differently to accomplish your health goals. Now, the big announcement that I have for you this evening is that as the creator of the New Aria method, founder of New Aria Health and Wellness, this is a personal journey for me. I need you to know that I've been in your shoes and I've thought your thoughts. And I have been upwards of over 200 pounds. I've had prediabetes. I've been on a medication for anxiety, depression. And I was always in search of a better way. And that better way was in learning how to think differently. And what I didn't realize over time was what was being birthed to the world was the New Aria method. What I didn't realize over time, over 14 years, is that I was testing and measuring how to deliver things. And we finally come to a place many years later that says we know exactly what works in every space. And so what you've seen a lot of from us is New Aria weight loss. And that is how we have made our first mark in the world is New Aria weight loss. And we approach weight loss through what we do in our mission is teaching you how to think differently in order for effortless behavior change. The people and the humans that we serve in weight loss, it is not through another diet and another meal plan. It is through learning how to think differently. And besides our proven results, which far surpass any of the popular weight loss programs that you have in your brain right now, the weight loss programs that are most common, I won't name names, but they tout about 4 to 5% average weight loss in 1 year's time. And our 3-year running average is 6.48% weight loss in 6 months' time. And that is all because of the New Aria method. Now that we have created the systems and structure around New Aria weight loss and serve the public and corporations and business in the weight loss sector in a very new kind of weight loss program that really drives in humans changing humans. Technology is a helpful assist in what we do. We don't overlook that. At the end of the day, we know that just as I have said to you right here and right now, Instagram and Facebook and Zoom, is that when you know that I have been in your shoes and thought your thoughts, and so have the mentors on the other side of your phone and tech support, it makes the whole, it changes the whole game. And so the big announcement that I have for you this evening is that now that New Aria weight loss is here for the world, what is coming next, and what I would like to invite you to participate in with me personally as we continue to define its structure, is New Aria diabetes. New Aria diabetes is the same process as New Aria weight loss. We help effortless behavior change through a change in your thinking. Now, if you're someone yourself, or you know of someone who has pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, they know what to do, they're just not doing it, New Aria Health and Wellness is the place for them. I am taking on no more than 2 clients a month in the New Aria Diabetes program to expand upon that. Over 14 years, I've tested and measured New Aria weight loss. Can you do it on your own? Nope, that flopped, that didn't work. Can you do it just the videos? Nope, that doesn't work. So now we have the group setting, we offer it in corporations and businesses, and then as a one-to-one. So you'll see all of these opportunities, and then in the same way, we are birthing to you now New Aria Diabetes in a way that approaches health in the same way through a change in your thinking. And what you will also see coming down the pipeline very soon is New Aria Stress. New Aria Stress. It will be an offshoot of the same thing, New Aria weight loss and New Aria diabetes, but New Aria stress. And I've gotten some flack for this conversation before. I have certainly gotten some pushback over the years, and I will not budge my opinion on it. It is of my belief that it is possible to eliminate stress in our lifetime. I know that all the conversation is always around stress management. And yes, absolutely, that is the very first thing that we need to move towards, is stress management. But stress elimination is a real conversation when we know how to think differently, and that ultimately impacts our emotional state, which drives our behaviors, which is the New Aria method. When we know how to think differently, we can change our relationship to stress and put it in its rightful place. So that is my big announcement for you this evening. I'm very excited. We are hosting New Aria live with the founders tonight in my kitchen, so welcome to my kitchen. And New Aria Diabetes and New Aria Stress are coming down the pipeline. I'm very, very excited to invite you to participate. As I mentioned, I'll be taking just two clients, no more than 2 clients a month in New Aria Diabetes, to be able to lay out the structure to bring it to you in a much larger way. So if you know of someone who has diabetes, pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, please do send them my way, especially if there's 2 criteria they must meet, is that it's the type of person who knows what to do, they're just not doing it, they want to bang their head against a wall, they feel like it's not possible, they feel like a failure because they've tried everything, and they also do want to get off their medications, and they actually want to, dare I say, heal that. So welcome to Wednesday's Live with the Founder. Tonight's topic is all or nothing thinking, and how that is the biggest saboteur of our health. I'm just going to lay out in 3 very simple steps tonight. What we're going to look over is, what is all or nothing thinking as a thought habit. I'm going to give you examples of it, and then the very first stages of how to begin to correct that all or nothing thinking. If I had to drill down in all of my time and all of my experience, after working with thousands of clients over the years on a one-to-one basis, all or nothing thinking is a habitual pattern of thought that is the most detrimental to our health, especially if you are someone who, you're here because you know what to do, you're just not doing it. And as I said to you before, there are some people in the world who just need a meal plan. Just tell me what to do, I'll go do it, I'll change my health and my life, and we're good to go. There are those people out there, and that's not who we serve, because there are thousands of meal plans out there. There are thousands of lots of information. It's of my opinion that if how-tos really worked, we'd all be skinny, rich, and happy by now. But the problem is that we're not. So what we focus on is integration. How do I integrate the knowledge that I know? Because you are smart. You have the knowledge. How do I take that knowledge and actually make it real in my life? So all or nothing thinking over the years is one of the most common, hands down, habituations in thinking that I have seen just take people down. So let's talk about it in the context of weight and health and weight loss. We'll step back for just a second. The New Aria method says that our thoughts create our emotions, which create our behaviors. Our thoughts create our emotions, which create our behaviors. For some of you, you already know this. For some of you, it's basic 101 and you're hearing it for the first time. you must know that our behaviors here, they create our life circumstance. So, if I eat too much sugar, then there's fat or inflammation on my body. Or if I don't save any money, there's no money in my bank account. It's very simple. And now, most of us, this is a very good example of all or nothing thinking. And what you must know too is that habits, we talk all about habits here, not just physical habits and behaviors, but thinking habits and behaviors. Habits, all automatic, easy, effortless ways of living and existing in the world. We do them and we do not think about them. They are easy and effortless. I could argue that it is as easy for the majority of us to go be stressed out as it is for us to brush our teeth. We don't have to think about it. We just go do it. We just are stressed out. In the same way, and if you get this, this is going to put us ahead of the map. This is our whole, we call it a journey here at Nuaria, because there's always many layers of our health and our health journey. But if you get this, this is going to be the biggest key to turning everything around. I keep using this example. The past couple of days, we just started, we twice a year we enroll Nuaria weight loss group for Nuaria. And so we still have some time. P.S. If you're wanting to get into Nuaria weight loss group, we had our in-person last night on Tuesday, and we have the online portion, the kickoff Saturday. So if you still want to get in, there's still room. So we had the kickoff last night, and I keep using this example of if you take a shower and you get out of the shower and you grab your towel, and that towel maybe is on a rack or it's on a shelf or something, but you don't think about it. You just grab the towel and you put it around your body in a certain way. You don't have to say arm, reach for towel, fingers, grab towel, place towel around body in a clockwise format, right? I'm being silly with you, but you get the point. You don't have to tell anything anywhere to do that. It just does that. There is a certain way about you grabbing the towel that is habitual in nature. In the same way, our thinking is so habitual in nature that we are so close to our thinking or our habits of thought that we cannot see that we're thinking that way. The same goes with all or nothing thinking. I'm going to give you examples here momentarily, but we cannot see when we are engaged in all or nothing thought because we are all or nothing thought. It is so much a part of us that we don't see it. If you experience much stress and anxiety, the same thing happens here, is that if we are so used to the habits or the emotional habituations of stress and anxiety, we are those things and we cannot see past those things. And so the first road home to changing everything is to simply understand, which is one of the things we teach you on a foundational education level in level 1 education, whether that be Nuaria weight loss, Nuaria diabetes, or Nuaria stress, is that you are not your brain. And you are not, if you are not your brain, you're not the thoughts that you have in your head. If we think we are the thoughts that we have in our head, that's when trouble begins. Especially if the thoughts in our head or habits of thought do not serve the life circumstance we wish to have. In our case, is good health, right? So think about it this way, is that our thoughts create our emotions, which create our behaviors. Now, typical behavior change would say, I really should get off sugar. So I'm going to change 998 things about my life on Monday. This is all the sugar I eat. So now I've gone down to no sugar at all. This is my new habit, is I eat no sugar. All of the sugar in the world, no sugar in the world. This is all or nothing. It is all in or all out. Go hard or go home. Do it right, do it all, or don't do it at all. And this is an all or nothing way of thinking. Now notice my hand is still up here. Why? This is my thinking, my all or nothing thinking. It is a habit of my mind, I think go hard, go home, all or nothing. And I do this, I'm using me as an example, and this is just, you can use this for anything in your life. All or nothing thinking, if you do it in your food, you do it in all areas of your life. You do it in your work, you do it in real relationships, you do it driving, you do it in all areas of your life. So your thoughts create your emotions, which create your behaviors. Now I changed my behavior, remember? All sugar, no sugar. Now, willpower is just a muscle. Willpower is just a muscle. So I'm going to use all of my might, all of my might. I'm going to go to the summer picnics and I'm going to go all of these places and I'm not going to eat any sugar. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But you know what? I'm using my willpower muscle unstrategically. I'm changing 998 things about my life. And what happens when I change that on Monday? I fall into chocolate cake or a six-pack by Friday. Why? Because I've used all my willpower. The moment, if all or nothing thinking causes frustration or overwhelm or stress, because thought, emotion, behavior, then the moment that I've used up all my willpower because there's stress everywhere, stress, this is the hamster wheel right here, the hamster wheel. So all the sugar in the world, no sugar in the world, used up my willpower, stress gets me back to the sugar. Well, next Monday, back to no sugar. Go throughout the whole week. I'm really, really good. And then, you know what? Willpower gets me. And I use up all my willpower. Stress gets me or overwhelm gets me. And I get really, families coming in town. And then back to the sugar. This right here is the hamster wheel. If you have been on the hamster wheel, you know how frustrating and overwhelming it is. But look over here. What has never changed? Your all or nothing thinking. Thought is the cause. Behavior is the symptom. You can bang your head against the wall with symptom treatment or behavior change your whole life. But if we never learn how to think differently, you'll never change the alignment pattern or habit that you're working with, right? Everything flows in alignment all of the time. All or nothing thinking, stress, overwhelm, frustration, sugar. Yep, no sugar, don't do it, don't look at the donuts in the break room. Oh my gosh, I had such a stressed out week. Back here, because I never changed my thinking. All or nothing thinking or habit of thought, it's a habit of thought. The brain has 70,000 thoughts in a day. Your brain, my brain, here's Maya, here's her brain. Here's you, here's your brain. We're not our brains. The brain has 70,000 thoughts a day. And they're going to fall under categories, right? It's not that you have 70,000 all or nothing thoughts in a day. They're just going to fall under categories of thinking. Now, thinking isn't bad nor good. Thinking just is thinking. Thoughts are just thoughts. However, if you're in a body that maybe has too much weight on it, or it doesn't know how to regulate sugar and has diabetes or has too much inflammation due to stress, if you're in a body that doesn't really match your whole and healthy intentions, who you really are and want to be, if you want to be healthier, then really what we have to look at is our behaviors. And when we look at our behavior change, then we start to change these behaviors in here. But when we go back to our thinking, the original thoughts can look like many different things. So if I have 70,000 thoughts a day, if you and I have 2 different lives, 2 different families, 2 different jobs, you and I can have all or nothing thoughts or perfectionist thoughts or catastrophic thoughts or obsessive thoughts or overthinking thoughts. They're going to fall under these categories. If I overthink something, that will produce a lot of stress and anxiety in my life. Now, your overthinking thoughts may sound different than my overthinking thoughts, but they're all habits of thought. Here's Maya, here's you, and here's our brain. And the brain has habits of thought. Now, P.S. side note, back here is what we call our paradigms, our repeated thoughts, our beliefs, fears, and insecurities. The stuff underneath the water, underneath the iceberg that we can't necessarily see. Sorry, Instagram, I was out of the photo. So back here is the stuff that we can't necessarily see. That's driving our everyday thinking. There's a reason that we think what we think every single day. But I'm so close to those thoughts. I take the towel off the rack and I don't even think about how I'm taking the towel off the rack. If you wanted to start tying your shoes a different way, I would have to stand over you and remind you, hey, tie your shoes in a different way. We're so close to our thoughts. We think we are our brain, and we think we are our thoughts, and we think we are our emotions, and that's when we get into trouble, especially when our thoughts and emotions are not matching our desired life circumstance. If we think we are our thoughts, and if we think and mistake ourselves and think we are our emotions, and bang our head against a wall and think that we're failures because we just can't somehow get our behavior change on board with our desired life circumstance, we will forever feel like we're failures and we can't get this done, when in actuality, you're not a failure. It is possible, and a real change is possible for you. It simply is done through a change in your thinking. We can stop running our head against the wall here, and let's go about behavior change in an effortless way and change our thinking. All or nothing thinking is simply one type or habituation of thought. That's all it is. It's one type or habit of thought. I would encourage you, I'm going to give you examples of some all or nothing thoughts here in just a moment, right now. I would encourage you to get to know what your all or nothing thinking sounds like. What does your all or nothing thinking sound like? I'll use the word health and wellness company, so I'll keep giving you examples of health and wellness. What does all or nothing thinking sound like for you? Because all or nothing it's just a category of thought for 70,000 thoughts. It's just a category. There's 70,000 thoughts in our head. So what do your individual all or nothing thoughts sound like? Feel free, if you do know, feel free to put them in the comment section, whether that be on Facebook, Zoom, or on Instagram. If you know what your all or nothing thoughts are, allow me to give you some examples to help you to understand what that might look like. Let me just move you around a little bit, Instagram. So allow me to give you examples on what that might look like. I gave you one example. It's super common. It's kind of hilarious, but it is truth in reality, is that all or nothing thinking is that I changed 998 things about my life on Monday and I fall into chocolate cake by Friday. It is a go hard or go home mentality. I'm going to do it all or I'm not going to do it. It is often a mentality when a very common habit for a lot of our clients is that we're hard on ourselves. We expect a lot, and we go hard and we just go. And typically we're not on the front burner. One of the examples of all or nothing thinking. So we are working with a client in New Area Weight Loss, and one of the first things that we do is a decompress phase. The decompress phase says, hey, let's decompress your body, right? Let's like deflate the balloon that's coming from all these deviations, stress and sugar and all of these things. So let's decompress the body. And in that time, we're going to take you off sugar. Now, for the sugar addicts in the world, we'll figure out some stepping stones for you. If you need stepping stones to not be so all or nothing, we'll do that for you. Stepping stones are small steps. Now, she is a sugar addict, and so our first course of action was to take her off of sugar. And she said, absolutely, yes, I can. Okay, so let's do that. And a couple days later, we get an email that says, I need a restart, which I always expect. But it's what you learn to do with us in a big way is to learn how to trust yourself and learn how to create your own plans and learn how to listen to your own body in order to move forward, because that will come when you change your thinking. When your thinking is too clouded, too murky, too messy, too noisy, too negative, too whatever, you're not going to be able to hear your body properly. You're not going to be able to take its own cues because you're too far in your own thinking and unwanted or less than desirable emotions. So can I get a restart? I planted in some stepping stones. No problem. Okay, so we know that you said yes to taking off all the sugar. That didn't work. And so that's not a failure. It is simply a test, measure, course correct. You must know that no matter what, you cannot fail on your journey in health. You absolutely cannot fail. It is a test, measure, course correct. Here's where you're at. Here's where you want to be. Test, measure, course correct. Test, measure, course. Implement, test, measure, course correct. Implement, test, measure, course correct. You cannot fail. You will get to where you want to go. It is only because you're thinking that will allow you to fail, so to speak. So she implemented some stepping stones, and when she implemented stepping stones that allowed in sugar in a small way, then she went to all the sugar, because a little bit of sugar came in and then she went to all the sugar. So by now I'm assuming that some of you are really resonating with this. And so we let a little bit of sugar in through stepping stones, and then she went to all the sugar. And so then as our mentor call came up, she realized that, okay, well, we have two choices. There's only two choices here. I am going to eat sugar and use, well, I guess technically 3 choices would be eat all the sugar in the world and stay as I am, but that's not why she's here. Or I'm going to eat sugar in a stepping stone fashion and get off of it, which works for some people, not for others, and especially if you're in a sugar addiction category. Or I'm going to get off sugar. And she liked the word, which was very, very smart on her part, which was a path of least resistance thought pattern, or redirect, which we use later on with you, simply says, I'm free of sugar. I'm choosing to be free of sugar. And that to her was a much easier and simpler way that allowed her to not, it's not something that's off limits or off guard, like something I can't have. And so now that is the path she chose, and now is moving forward. And you can see what was happening was her behaviors of on and off sugar clouded her ability to see her success, because her brain said, see, you've done this before and nothing has ever worked, because the brain only has access to past experience. So it's going to go back in time and say, I told you nothing ever works. This is one more thing that is not going to work for you, right? But you can see that when you eat cake or eat cake, whatever, I'm just using, if I eat cake or I eat cake, here's one scenario, eat cake, 2 options. Eat cake, thought, I screwed it up. I may as well eat the whole cake, or just eat whatever's on the table right now and start again tomorrow. Or eat cake and, oh, okay, well, it's just it's a piece of cake. We're moving on, right? The cake, it's not about the cake. It's about the responsibility that I take in my thinking. Because one thought, if I have all or nothing thinking, says that it's the thought of all or nothing thinking isn't right or wrong. It simply doesn't serve desired life circumstance. So in this perspective, if we continue down the road of all or nothing thinking, it is never your behavior that is irresponsible. It is your thinking that is irresponsible. We place so much emphasis on behavior. We place so much of our I'm a failure or I'm a success on our behavior. When I want you to shift your thinking around this and know that the more we place responsibility in our thinking, the more effortless our behavior change becomes. And so that was her. She couldn't see past the all or nothing thinking, because remember the towel? Remember the towel example? I pulled the towel off of the shelf in the bathroom. I just pulled the towel off, and it's such a part of me. I don't even think about it. Same thing with all or nothing thinking, is it was such a part of her regimen. It was such a part of her habitual thinking that she couldn't see past it. It was just something that effortlessly came in. But now this is what awareness does. Now that I see my all or nothing thinking, now I can change it, because awareness, as you've heard me say for all of these Wednesday lives with you, is the light that gets turned on in a dark room. And what I can see, I can choose to change. What I can see, I can choose to change. And if I cannot see my habitual thinking, I cannot change it. I'm going to give you another example. That's if you're rebellious or feeling defiant about yourself, listen up, because that's the next example I want to give you. All or nothing, all or nothing thinking for me is, from Gail, all or nothing thinking for me is having to meet my step goal every day, even if that means getting up extra early or staying up extra late. Gail, there's nothing, that's perfect. Thank you for this example. I wanted to know what all or nothing thinking sounded like. There's not any, it's perfect. There's not any right or wrong, good nor bad in it. It sounds to me as though this all or nothing, this is where it gets a little hairy, right? This all or nothing thinking for you, as you deem it, it isn't necessarily a bad thing, unless, and I'm making this up because I don't know, unless you don't meet your step goal every day and then you get on and off this wagon. And then you say, oh, I didn't make it, I'm a failure, or get on and off this wagon of steps all of the time, because this bar of I have to meet my step goal every single day, and when I don't meet it, it's like eating the cake, is I have my step goal. Well, I didn't meet it, and so I start Monday and blah, blah, blah. That's all or nothing thinking versus how I'm going to think about making or not making my step goal. So if you're deeming your all or nothing thinking for me as saying you're drawing a line in the sand, this is how it has to be, then there's certainly nothing wrong with that. We're looking at the all or nothing thinking is detrimental. You can share in the comment section with me if that's what you were thinking. Shannon, I either eat out or cook everything at home. Yep, it's an absolutely perfect example. Shannon, is I either eat out or I cook everything at home, and it's I'm laughing because I think I've been through that myself, I'm sure, with prepared meals or something like that. But it's either I've got to make everything at home, I have to be perfect with my meals, I've got a meal plan exactly, or I'm just going to continue to eat out or have some kind of meal planning service. Or it's either or. And then sometimes it weighs on us a little bit, is to say, well, I really should be meal planning. I really should be meal planning. I'm not getting to this meal planning thing, and I won't start my diet until I get to the meal planning thing. So to Shannon's example, that's the all or nothing component. I'm either eating out or I'm cooking everything at home. We can certainly take those all or nothing to the extremes. The other example, when we, hey Kara, how are you? Welcome. Kara was just with us last evening. So the last example I want to give you on what all or nothing thinking is before we move into the very, 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 very beginning stages of how to fix it. And then I will make one last announcement on the announcement that I made at the beginning of our live this evening. Was if you're feeling, it's very common after 14 years, I have seen and heard this over and over and over and over again, is that if you set a goal for yourself, you draw a line in the sand, all or nothing thinking can rear its ugly head when we have this habit or feeling of defiance. It came up in group last night as well when we had kicked off the New Aria weight loss group, which, by the way, still has a few seats for Saturday in it, is that if she made example that if she did not meet her goal of, I set out, I'm going to make this up because I forgot what it was. If it wasn't to be perfect with my eating that day, right? If I wasn't perfect with my eating that day and I went off plan, there's a certain rebellion or defiance that comes with that. And it is more habit. It's all or nothing thinking that says, okay, well, you didn't do it, so you're going to may as well go and eat all of these things. So sometimes that's how we know that all or nothing thinking is there as well. Okay, Gail, perfect. You said, yes, if I can't meet it consistently, I give up. Perfect. So that's exactly what Gail was talking about, was all or nothing for me is I have a goal that if I got to meet my step goal every single day, even if that means getting up early or late, but if I can't meet it consistently, I give up. It's a fantastic, perfect all or nothing goal. And Gail, you're with us, so we will teach you how to you're starting with us Saturday, how to create those stepping stones for yourself to create those small little movements, because something very interesting happens is that we always, if all or nothing thinking, if you don't get this, don't worry about it. Come back and listen to the Wednesday lives more and more. This is very important. The all or nothing thinking oftentimes is cured and thought around, changed habitually in our mind by paying less attention to the should-based thought and more attention to where our resistance lies. You maneuver around your all or nothing thinking to get to desired goals in life circumstance when you pay less attention to the should. I should be able to make my steps. I should be able to get off sugar. I really should be able to stop drinking alcohol. I really should be able to meal plan all the time. What's the matter with me, right? When we create stepping stones with you in the very beginning stages, is you measure your own resistance. You measure your own resistance, and you feel through your own resistance, because your brain says you really should be able to pack your lunches for a week. Like, what's the matter with you? You really should be able to do that. You should be able to. Because the should, or the all or nothing thinking, is so loud and so habitual, you're unable to feel through your resistance. To say, you know what? I know that in the next 7 days, what I can really do is I can pack my lunch twice. And your brain goes nuts. You should be able to do more. Like, why can't you just do the whole week? You're never going to get to your goals if you don't do the whole time. Like, why didn't you learn French yesterday? I mean, come on, what's the matter with you? You didn't create world peace yet? You're smarter than that. Right? These are all ways that our all or nothing thinking rears its ugly head, and all or nothing thinking is very close to shoulds. So how do we fix this? How do we fix this? How do we fix this? Besides joining the New Aria program, because we can't fix it in the next 5 minutes. But what you can do is this, is now we know, if you have been here from the beginning with me when we first mentioned, is that now you know, and the whole reason New Aria Health and Wellness exists is to tell the world one very, very, very important message. In a world where our health is getting worse, in a world where we have more meal plans and diets than ever before, in a world where if how-tos worked, we'd all be skinny, rich, and happy by now, but we're not, in a world where we all know what to do and we're just not doing it, it is not about our behavior, it is about our thinking. Thinking is the cause, behavior is the symptom. Therefore, behavior change alone is only symptom treatment, and you will forever bang your head against the wall. How you think about your health is more important than what you do for your health. How you think about your health is more important than what you do for your health. And in all of the New Aria programs, we teach you how to think differently for effortless behavior change. That is our way forward in health now, because we are smart. You are smart. You are here. You would not be here if you didn't already know what to do. You don't need me sitting here and telling you to eat half a cup of broccoli and 4 ounces of chicken. If that were the answer, you could go on the internet, grab that meal plan, you'd already be where you want to be. But you're not where you want to be for a very specific reason. And it's not because you haven't figured shit out, because you're not smart enough, because it's not possible, or you're a failure. It's simply because of your habitual thinking, period. And all or nothing thinking is one of the components that drives that behavior, which is tonight's topic. And the reason that I bring you to that point is the fix of it all. How do we fix it? How do we change how we think? The beginning stages of the New Aria level 1 education is 6 months, and is a 6-month process. So one of the first things that you want to do is this, and this will be your take home. When you are engaged in all or nothing thinking, and I just gave you a bunch of examples of what potentially all or nothing thinking sounds like with your health. And now, the whole reason I was blabbering at you for the past 30 minutes, the whole reason is so that you can be aware of the all or nothing thought and not become it. Not become it. You can see it and not become it. You can see it and not become it. If you have become it, you're taking that towel off the rack and you don't even know you're doing it. You're doing it the same way you've always done it before. If you wake up in the morning and you're automatically in stress, if you become it, you can't change it. But now, in the past 30 minutes, the whole reason that I've been sitting here talking is so that you could see it. And I hope that you see it. Now, I want to ask you one very important question, and you can answer it to yourself. You can put it in the comments. Like Gail's example is the steps. You know, I've my all or nothing thinking is that I've got to meet my daily steps every single day, and I'll get up early or I'll get up late to do it. And then if I can't do it consistently, I give up. How does that giving up feel? How does that giving up feel, Gail? Shannon, when you say I either eat out or I cook every at home. And I'm assuming in your example you didn't give me any more that says I want to be cooking at home. And when you're eating out and you feel that pull to be wanting to be cooking at home, how does that feel? When you change 998 things about your life on Monday and you fall into the chocolate cake or 6-pack by Friday, how does that feel? When you identify how it feels, which most commonly for all or nothing thinking is frustration and overwhelm, and sometimes stress, sometimes anxiety. Thoughts, this is the New Aria method, 101, thoughts, emotions, behaviors. Thoughts create our emotions, create our behaviors. You cannot monitor 70, right now you can in level 2. You cannot monitor 70,000 thoughts in a day or you'd go crazy. But what you can start to pay more attention to is how you feel. And feelings is a whole nother topic. One of the courses that you go through with us in our New Aria programs is how to think and how to feel. And when you identify how you feel, when you tap in, tune in, and turn on more often to how you're feeling, again, when you don't become frustrated, but you notice frustration. when you don't become stressed, but you notice stress, when you don't become anxious, but you notice anxious, when you don't become overwhelmed, but you see overwhelmed. There's a difference between I am stressed versus I am experiencing stress. There's a difference between I am anxious versus I am experiencing anxiety. There's a difference between I am overwhelmed versus I am experiencing overwhelm. The same thing goes with your thinking. When you see it, you are not it. When you see it, you are not it. And so now you see your all or nothing thinking. You did it. You've been doing work. Just watching this video all night long. Right now, in the past 43 minutes, you've been doing work. Congratulations. And now I ask you, how does your all or nothing thinking feel? Because when you know that you are engaged in that emotion, you can begin the next steps of changing habitual thought, which in the New Aria program we call thought redirection. Does it make sense? So this is tonight's topic was all or nothing thinking, how it is the biggest saboteur of your health. As I mentioned, after 14 years in this work, all or nothing thinking is the one thing that will take people down, men and women alike, repeatedly. All or nothing. And it is a learned thought habit. It is a learned thought habit. Just as our paradigms and belief systems are learned, our emotions can be learned, our behaviors can be learned. It is a learned thought habit. You go out into the world and we are taught one way how to diet. You are taught one way how to do things. We are not taught how to think for ourselves in order to do this. We are not taught how to think differently to do this. And so when you can take a look at your thinking and realize that you're engaged in that thought, and you can do that through emotion. Emotion's the gateway. But when you realize you're engaged in that thought, and you don't even have to go through the feeling. Just by being on this conversation this evening, tonight, you're going to be much more aware that you're even engaged in that type of thinking, which is awesome. And now you'll be able to notice it more often. And when you notice it, then you can start to change it. So for those of you that joined in late, this was our all or nothing thought habit topic for the evening. And we're just discussing how your thinking is the most important component to your health. How you think about your health is more important than what you do for your health. And our big announcement this evening was that what you will see, this is a special invitation for those of you this evening. I'll be taking on 2 new clients for our New Aria Diabetes program, and the New Aria Diabetes program and the New Aria Stress program, which you will see coming out more and more. You probably have known us for some time for New Aria Stress, and essentially New Aria Health and Wellness simply says that how you think about your health is more important than what you do for your health. And we're here to change the conversation and to change the way the world changes their health, quite literally. As I mentioned before, we have more meal plans and diets than we've ever had before, and we're sicker and fatter and happier than we've ever had before, and you're smarter than ever before. So what's the issue? The issue is integration, not more knowledge. The issue is human to human connection and change. While technology is certainly a helpful assist, humans change humans. And that's what we do at New Aria. When you know that someone here has walked in your shoes and thought your thoughts, that changes the game entirely. And now it is more important to change how you think about your health and allow a behavior to be effortless in what you do. So you will start seeing from us New Aria Diabetes, and then on into New Aria Stress. And so I welcome you into all of those programs. We continue on. If you know of anyone with pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, they have to eat, number one, they know what to do, they're just not doing it. They've been on many plans and diets before and they find it very hard to control their sugar. And number two, they have a genuine desire to get off their medication and get better and get healthier. Those are the 2 prerequisites, of course, for really who we work with. We work with smart people who know what to do. They're ready to move forward. And the very last thing I will say is just know this. The very last thing I will mention to you this evening is singular in nature, is that the brain only has access to past experience. The brain only has access to past experience. When you want to create something new out of nothing, meaning effortless behavior change, effortless weight loss, effortless blood sugar balance, effortless stress management or stress elimination. These are concepts that are foreign. They have not existed before to us. We have not experienced, although you might have experienced weight loss, maybe you didn't experience effortless weight loss. And so these are foreign concepts. We can't use the brain to get there, meaning we cannot use habitual thinking to get there. If we want to create something new, the brain is just a catalog, a very, very helpful, smart tool, but just a catalog of old past experience. So we have to get beyond mind and beyond habitual thought, beyond our own habits of thought, emotion, and behavior to create something new out of nothing, because we cannot use our old hardware to create something new. And when you learn how to stay present, how to notice your emotion and be in the moment with yourself, that is the door and the gateway to changing how you habitually think. That is the door and gateway to say, I am not this, or I'm becoming this, and I see this, I'm noticing it, just like your all or nothing thinking tonight. So I hope this was helpful for you this evening. Please do join us. We have Nuaria Weight Loss, by the way, we enroll groups twice per year. And we are enrolling the group now. We started the in-person on Saturday, and we have one more kickoff this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Group is a really awesome way to join the Nuaria Weight Loss Program at a reduced cost, because all the group health coaching sessions, well, all the health coaching sessions are group. So just go to nuaria.com, click weight loss at the top. And for those of you that have asked many times, Nuaria means new air. For 14 years, I have been told that the work we do is like a breath of fresh air. And so we saw it fit to name Nuaria as such. Thank you all for being here. I really do hope that this was helpful for you in some way, that you can see and are more aware of your habits of thought. I'll stay on if there's any questions. Howard, did you want to come on live on Instagram, or did you click a button accidentally? Do you want to come on live for something? Do you have something to say? I don't think I've ever brought anybody on live. Cool beans. All right, my friends, have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you so much for being here. Know that we are always a resource and a tool here for you. We work both individually and in businesses and corporations. Oh, accidentally got it. And in businesses and corporations. So if you want to bring the Nuaria program into your business as well, then please reach out to us. And if you're wanting to do this for yourself, then reach out to us as well, because we can take care of both. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Sleep well. Have lots of vegetables for dinner.